Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. What is up, crew? How are you? Good?
Morning. We just got
Yeah,
back.
give me,
I just
hey,
got back from a conference, so I'm not feeling well.
oh,
I'm
did you go,
here.
were you at TF's conference?
Yeah. I get sick
Nice.
every year, so
Take your, hey, if you guys want to know the secret sauce, because you guys know I travel all the time. I'm hugging and shaking and kissing and what, not kissing, but you know what I mean, like kissing babies. There's a company out there called Dr. Schultz Patel. This is my ruthless plug for them, right? Dr. Schulzes. You can find them there. It's herbdoc, HERBDOC.com. I was turned on to them years ago by Mike Ferry, right? The guy's name is Dr. Richard Schultz. They're based out of Santa Monica. They have the best products for health and nutrition. They're cold and flu, they're superfood, and they're echinacea. You can't go wrong. That's what I pound that stuff prior to, during, and after events. And it keeps me from getting all sicky, right?
oh,
So
thank
just,
you.
yeah,
Thank
because,
you.
hey, it's difficult to produce huge results if you don't have the energy because you're sick, right, guys?
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
and you look at, I've said this to you guys, a majority of, if you want to remove resistance out of the sales process, it requires a lot of energy. So, guys, I kind of had two different routes that I wanted to go today with you. And now that we're sort of in the foxhole and been in the foxhole a little bit, you'll find that certain times I sort of like to pivot, right? But we're going to try and hit all three today, all three things that I want to hit you with here today. Okay. Because obviously we had our call last time we talked about, hopefully you guys got some value out of that avatar conversation. Did you guys get some value out of that avatar conversation that we ultimately had? If you created your avatar at 50 reasons that you're bad at, all of these wonderful things, guys. I mean, I can't stress it enough how important this is, right? Like being able to actually have that version of yourself that you're looking at, that you're reading every single day, that you're affirming every single day, that you're visualizing every single day, and the 50 reasons why it is that you ultimately are a badass. That is a very sort of etheric conversation, but tactical in its approach. Does that make sense, guys? You guys remember the call we had a couple of weeks ago? I hope you guys are looking at me like you guys are giving me the deer in the headlights look. Like, what was that? So please go back, review it if you didn't actually watch the call if you weren't here. I want to talk two things here today with you guys. I want to begin that conversation with you guys setting a boatload more appointments in your business. And I just want you to write this down. Okay. I want you to write down that um, appointments are the currency of a great real estate business. Appointments are the currency of a great real estate business. They're the measure. Now, why is it that I'm saying appointments are the currency, not closings? Do you think? By the way, you guys can unmute yourself. We can talk openly. We got, how many people do we have on here? Oh, we got 52 people. Let's go, baby. Right. So, why is it that I'm saying appointments are the currency of a great real estate business? Not sales, not listings. It's appointments. What do you think?
If you
Um,
get you in front of
Without
people,
the appointments, you're not going to have any of the other ones come along.
Totally. Right. And Jeff, it's the thing that I really can have a lot of control over. Does that make sense? Okay. Can I really control whether someone like the time frame that someone lists or not? No, that's up to them. Does that make sense? Can I control when they buy? No, I can educate them. Right. But ultimately, and I want you guys to write this down. A buyer is going to buy when a buyer is going to buy. A seller is going to list and sell when a seller is going to list and sell. Period. It's on Rochelle. It's on their time frame, not mine. Roro. Does that make sense? But what I can control, Nino, is I can control, can I get the appointment, right? Can I get in front of them? Can I get face to face based upon the value of that appointment itself? Okay. Does that resonate with you guys? Yes or no? And if I get my booty out on enough appointments, I'm getting better on my presentations. B, I'm building up a great pipeline, even if they're in the future. And C, the more at bats I have, the higher the probability that I'm going to get someone to list or someone to sign a buyer broker agreement. Can you guys see that? Yes or no? Okay. Now, I truly believe and have seen with all the years, I think I'm at Christine, I'm at like 117,000 coaching sessions right now. Can you guys believe that? Over the course of the last, Jeff, 31 years. Guess where agents lose more money than any other part of the business. What do you think it is?
Not following up.
In the follow-up. Everyone do me a favor, point at yourself and go, I can get a lot better at my follow-up on the count of three. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I can get infinitely better at my follow-up. And literally, guys, I have seen agents that I've coached or they've been involved in my organization or Tom's organization or even Mike's organization add 20, 30%, Nazar, to their income, not with more leads, just by getting better at the game of follow-up, right? Okay. And I think Michelle, if you went through and cataloged like all of the leads that you had that worked with somebody else because we didn't follow up enough, not aggressive enough, didn't have the right conversation, right? How many of you know that there's at least 20 to 30% pop that you could get off of the existing leads, even if you did no more marketing, even if you did no more prospecting, you just got better at follow-up? Do you believe that, guys? Yes or no? Okay. Yes, I do. So let me ask you this question. I want you to write down this question. Why do agents suck at follow-up? And I want you to write it that way. And I want you to just take a moment, and you could even write it in the first person. Why do I suck at follow-up sometimes? Why do we not savagely go after it or have the results that we want off of it? And I would just want you to brain dump for a second, Christine, okay? Kevin, I just want you to think about what is it that stops you from being absolutely a beast, savage, world-class at follow-up, okay? And as you're doing this, I want you to recognize the first step to transforming anything in life is awareness. Does that make sense? The first step to transforming anything in life is awareness. So this awareness play. Nazar, I'm going to ask you the question, man. So, okay. Dude, 415 trans. 415
writing on the chat while you were asking me. One,
yeah, dude, I'd love to hear it, man.
One is I just forget.
Yep.
And probably more important than forgetting, because right now we got resources, we got tech that helps us remind ourselves.
Totally.
I think the bigger thing now is that I think that I would just lose hope that because they're not reciprocating, that they're not interested.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Okay. How many of you guys have had that? You make up a story that says, I've called them a couple of times, they're ghosting me, they can't be motivated. Yes or no? Yeah. I've done that more times than not. I'm like, screw it. And we have new lead flow coming in. So therefore, guess what we do, right? Is we end up spending more time on the new leads coming in while we're actually ignoring the old ones where the juice really is. So I love it, Nazar. Who else? I want this to be open dialogue with us today, guys. Who else? Because we're going to, by the way, Nazar, I'm digging into this for a couple of calls. Does that make sense? For a couple of calls, getting you guys absolutely savage at setting appointments and being able to actually, drive that. Why else do you think it happens?
Monkey brains get distracted.
I get distracted. My monkey brain gets distracted. I don't have the right system in place, or I'm not actually putting the attention towards it. Beautiful. What else?
Fear of not maybe knowing what to say this
call.
call.
Tammy, thank you. You're so awesome. You're rad, right? Most of us have a limited catalog of conversations to have with a lead, which primarily is, hey, are you still thinking about X? Great. Can we do Y? Right? Okay. And when that happens, we have, Tammy, 1 or 2 calls, 2 or 3 calls with them. And we're like, shit, man, what am I going to say next to them? Because they've already said no, right? Or wait. Okay. How many of you guys have that? If you had better dialogues, better conversations, better approach, you feel like you'd have more conversations. Yes. And be able to call them. Absolutely. Okay. So I want to start today by giving you all some data, right? Some data around follow-up. Now, part of this data is a survey and a study that Tom and I did, for about 18 months on multiple different data sets, right? One of them primarily was around agents, their follow-up process, and the income that they earn. So I'd like you to write this down. Write down the number 5. Isn't that great? I didn't plan that. I just realized it right when I actually said it. And next to the number 5, write down for me, Alicia, equals 100. I'll just write it for you guys. 5 equals, well, can you see that? $107,000. Ryan, 5 equals, $107,000. This was a pre-pandemic study that Ferry and I did, okay? And it was both with clients inside the ecosystem and outside the ecosystem. So both coaching clients and non-coaching clients. Tammy, what we found was this: agents that had 5 conversations with a lead. Now, what is a conversation? What class classified Teresa as Teresa Coward? Is that you? How much damn weight have you lost, sister?
Enough, I guess.
Yeah, like I literally did not even recognize you like when I was looking at you. That's so amazing.
Thank
So
you.
what
I'm gonna
we
see you
found,
soon. Couple
I can't
days.
wait, sis. I cannot wait to
Yeah.
see you, sister, next week. By the way, make sure that you text me for you and Sheila because I've got a special thing for you guys as well too.
Aw,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
be sure to text me.
I
So
will.
what classifies as a 5, one of the 5, is it's got to be a verbal conversation. Does that make sense, guys? Agents that had 5 conversations with a lead on average earned $107,000 more than those that had 3, 4, 2, or 1. Okay. So the game then becomes, Christine, how do I get to that 5? How do I, Tammy, have a good enough conversation with them, right? Where every single time, right, it's not uncomfortable. Okay. Because if all that I'm doing is saying, Michelle, when do you plan on selling your house? You said this, X, Y, and Z, and A, B, and C. Are those still your plans? I am going to get really uncomfortable. They're going to stop taking my call. So it really comes down to this. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys something here really quick. Hold on one second. I just want you to write down the word value. VALUE. There are 2 purposes when it actually comes to making a follow-up call. What do I want, Alicia, out of every single call? Well, of course, I'd like to get an appointment, and I want you to write that down. Number 1 goal with everyone I talk to is I'd love to get an appointment. Is that going to happen every single time? No. So if I can't get the appointment, Nino, then the second intent is to make sure that every single call that I have with a lead is bringing value to them. Does that make total sense, guys? Yes or no? That I'm bringing them something that is going to educate them. Now, remember, what I'm teaching you guys is called, this is my trademark style of selling. EBDD. Education-based, data-driven. Education-based, data-driven. That my intent to prospect is so I can find and market. Prospecting and marketing is to find the motivated. And I use my follow-up to educate the motivated. Does that make sense? So that they can make a decision based upon that education and that information that I'm bringing them, so that based upon their risk adversity and their level of motivation, they move forward faster. Okay. And it's my job to make sure that every call is educating them. So hold on one second. All right. Is this making sense, guys? Yes or no? Okay. Is that a different approach? Yes. So do I want the appointment? Of course. But I also want to make sure that I'm depositing in to that client. Now I'm going to give you one more number that I want you guys to understand, because as Nazar said, I stop calling because I lose interest because I feel like they should act faster. $27 to $31 touches. Please write that down. 27 to 31 touches. Now, how many of you guys know a gentleman by the name of John Cheplack? Have ever heard that name before? Okay. So if you don't know John, John actually works with some of the larger substantial teams. Okay. Like myself, right? They're working with some of the bigger teams now in North America, some of those successful teams in North America. John and I did a study, and what we found was this, that on average, it takes 27 to 31 touches to get an appointment with a client. That is a lead. Okay. 27 to 31 touches. Now this, let me define that. This is a call. Now keep in mind, 5 of those should be calls, right guys? 5 of those should actually be the calls that you're making that we talked about, because 5 equals 107. But the remaining 22 to 26 are your texts and your emails. Make sense? Okay. So it just takes a lot of attention and reaching out in most cases to be able to actually get the appointment to sit down and to present your value proposition. Now, I want to pause here really quick. And I just want to open this up to questions, thoughts, input, etc., right? Because I just laid a whole bunch of data on you that may have you think, I hope it has you think a little bit differently about this game of follow-up, right? And appointment setting. So what are you guys' thoughts? What's your input? What questions do you have around this?
I am curious to know, like, if you were to categorize what is it that causes people to not make phone calls? Is it more of the fear of knowing what to say, or is it more of like they're not responding to me, so like why am I feel like, like when you're trying to get someone's attention and then they don't want to give it to you, and you just kind of lose interest, or you feel stupid because you're trying to get their attention and they're not.
Well, I think it's, first of all, so for why do people not make calls? Number one, you don't understand the game, and you don't understand that this is a numbers game, and that it's going to take a lot of outreach and a lot of effort to be able to actually get the results. Does that make sense, guys? It just is. Number two, it's because your level of motivation is lower, and therefore you do just enough to be able to get by. Okay. And so how many of you guys have ever been how many of you have ever been married before? Raise your hand. Okay. Prior to getting married, when you're engaged, do you work a little bit harder? Yes or no? I've been married 2 times. Before every single one of them, guess what? I work my butt off like a banshee. Why? Because I'm like, oh, dude, shit's about to change. Let's go. How many of you have ever had kids? Okay. Does that change your focus and your level, and the way that you approach the business, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Does it change it where you work less, or you're like, oh my gosh, there's a human being that's either in my body or that's in my wife's body, and therefore I need to I'm going to be either responsible myself or responsible for somebody else. And oh my gosh, does it change the level of intent? And the answer is yes. How many of you guys have ever had the goal to buy a house before?
Yeah.
Yep. And then all of a sudden now you go aggressively after it. Unless you've got a big, hairy, audacious goal that has a financial umph to it, it makes it very difficult to be able to actually push yourself, right? Okay. Now, hey, Nazar, all of you guys should go back. And Nazar, email Jasmine. You can send it out to the entire Five Nation, right? We interviewed Jimmy Rex. Jimmy Rex, good friend of mine up here in Utah, had a team of 3, sold 497 homes at his peak. Who would love to have that business model? And oh, by the way, that year he was gone 160 days traveling as well too. He's had one of the best models. So his team still produces. He earns about 200 to 400K off of it while he's doing men's coaching right now. Okay. Right. So Jimmy just said the reason he did it because he wanted to be the best. Right. And he obviously had other things that were driving him as well too. But most human beings need to actually have something that they're working towards. Otherwise you won't make the calls. Someone said, hey, Bill. And so I cut you off. So I want to open that up really quick. So who said, hey, Bill? Nope. Nobody. Okay. I will say also the reason you don't make the calls is because, you ready? You're an amateur with your scripts versus a professional. And I mean that with full respect and dignity and love with you guys, because I personally, if I'm excited about what it is that I'm going to be talking about, I want to make as many calls as I can to share with the clients and with the leads and everybody else that it is and my past clients, to be able to actually share with them what it is that's going on in the market and how it impacts them. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or no? Okay. Right. And listen, guys, why am I hammering you? I was going to talk to you guys about this, but I'm not. These are like my 5 non-negotiables that I think every real estate agent should do. Do you guys want me to share it with you in 2 weeks? This is what I'm kicking everyone in G3 and my coaching company's ass until they get on these 5, right? Because it's really simple. And one of them is that you're spending, if you want to get great at follow-up, you're going to spend the 10 to 15 minutes a day studying the market on Altos, on Housing Wire, on Keeping Current Matters, and all those so that you have information to bring to them. Can you see that? Yes or no? Okay. Now, let me pivot here really quick. Hold on one second. I just got to get this right one. There it is. Okay. In my personal experience of coaching as many great agents and teams as I've had, this dialogue that I'm going to show you and that you need to own, I think is the most important script in your entire arsenal of actually being a real estate professional. It is the follow-up script. I don't even call it the follow-up script. I call it the appointment setting dialogue because that is the goal. And I want you guys to see this. Jeff, if I were coaching you, I'd give you 2 weeks and I'd say, in 2 weeks, you got to have this shit down or else I'm kicking you out of my schedule. Like literally that would be, that would be the level of intensity that I would operate and I would want you to operate on because that's how important I ultimately think it is. This is the simplest script. It's the simplest dialogue, but it's the one that allows you, Teresa, to be able to every single time have something that I'm bringing that's valuable to them. And you're going to see here, it says, hey, can I please speak with Nazar? Hey, Nazar, it's Bill Pipes over here with Five Real Estate. How are you doing? Oh, Bill, I'm good. What's up? Listen, I'm calling you back like I said I would. You may want to add a little caveat if there were any changes in the market that impacted you. It's a little bonus that put in there. If there were any changes in the market. And okay, great, Bill, what's up? Well, I wanted to confirm your plans to buy or to sell from our last conversation before we move forward. Hey, Nazar, you had told me that you were planning to move to St. George. You wanted to do that by May. Are those still your plans? Yeah, Bill, those are. Now, let me unpack this for you guys. I've said this to you before. Why do I say I'm calling you back like I said I would? What's the purpose of that? By the way, I can only see Jeff, Teresa, and Nazar. I'm going to scroll down here and get more people up there so I can see you. There we go. Chuck, what's the purpose of me saying I'm calling you back like I said I would?
To create trust and rapport.
That's exactly correct. Trust and respect. You can count on me. I'm doing what I said I'm going to do, even though we're not working with each other yet. I've already given that to you guys. I won't spend any more time. What is the purpose of me confirming their plans and their love and their motivation? What does that do? How does that position me effectively?
You're going to find out if anything's changed and adjust your response.
I can figure out if anything's changed. Good. Talk to me from the standpoint, though, my friends, of the experience that the consumer has when I say, hey, Kristen, last time we spoke, you were moving to San Francisco because of a job transfer. Are those still your plans? And she says, yes. And I say, and you said that you were San Francisco by May. And you said that you're doing that because you got a job transfer. Is that correct? And she says, yes. What is the experience that that consumer, buyer or seller, gets because I did that?
Shows you were listening.
Yep.
You got it. Shows I was listening, shows I'm a professional, right? Groups me inside of not the normal dumb ASS agent. I'm working really hard in 2025 not to curse as much. So bear with me, right? So not the normal Dumbo agent, that right? Now, then I go to number 3. Now this is, who was it that said, oh my gosh, man, I don't know, like, every single call, I feel like I'm bugging them, etc. If you had something that was informative, that benefited them, Kristen was who it was. Kristen, that benefits them, that is educational, informative. Would you want to share that with someone that's thinking about buying or selling? Would it make it easier to be able to actually have that conversation, guys? Yes or no? 100%. So now watch this. I'm studying every day the market nationally, 10 to 15 minutes, one time a week locally to see what's going on. I have this stockpile of information. So when I call then Kristen, I say, listen, Kristen, I was thinking about you because of, now think about that. If I tell someone I was thinking about them, what does that do? What is the psychological impact of that one phrase right there, guys?
Passion.
Okay, passion, Rochelle, good. Why else? Do you guys ever heard of a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar? Please say yes. Oh my gosh. If not, I'm going to kick you guys in the booties, right? If
Yes,
you
it
don't
shows
know.
you care, and it shows you care about the situation.
Alicia, Zig Ziglar used to say this: the most important radio station that you can ever use in that great Southern accent is MMFI, make me feel important. When I say, hey, Alicia, I was thinking about you because we saw a change in the market that could benefit you, right? Alicia goes, I feel important, right? Language creates reality. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes.
And so then, now take a look here, my friends. I'm not going to go through all 5 of these. I'm going to choose the one that I want to lean into that call with that client, with that lead. Okay. I may call Alicia and say, Alicia, I was thinking about you because there was an actual decrease in interest rates by about 20 basis points. Were you aware of that? Hey, Alicia, do you know how that plays to your advantage? You got more affordability, right? Also, what scares me about that is, and I'm going to unpack that. Or maybe I call Kristen, I say, hey, Kristen, there were a couple of new properties that I thought would actually fit your, what you were looking for over on 1, 2, 3, 4 Primrose. Have you seen them? I sent them over to you. Or maybe I'm giving Nino a call and I say, hey, Nino, there's been some pretty substantial changes in the market. There's a lot more inventory, which means there's a lot more to choose from. We should probably go out and start looking at. I'm going to find for that client, which requires a little bit of preparation, right? Where I'm looking at the leads that I'm going to call that day, that I'm going to follow up and say, what's my conversation and dialogue that I'm going to have with them? What am I going to lean in? How am I going to contribute to them? Right? Does this make sense, guys? Okay. And so now the game is, what is the value that I'm going to bring? And then at the end, I'm going to close every single time. Every single time. I'm going to deposit to them, right? After, 5 times, it should be enough of a tipping point. Okay. I should have built a strong enough relationship. They should see that I care. They should know that I'm a professional. They should experience me as an authority because I'm bringing them valuable data and information about the market, about their situation. And I say, hey, Teresa, I'm curious. Do you really need to be moved to San Francisco by May? Or did you want to start the process of buying at that time? No, Bill, we need to be moved by May. There is no option. I go, well, fortunately, to get you one step closer to you being moved, all that we need to do is simply set a quick 15-minute strategy session so that myself or my team can help you get moved, get what you want, do it easily in the time that you want, right? Won't that be great? Hey, Aline, look how simple this is. Or Eileen, excuse me, Eileen. So my 52-year-old eyes aren't as good as they used to be. This is the most simple script. And if I can't get an appointment with them, did I have a success in that call? And the answer is what, guys? Yes. Why was that call a success? Because maybe what I gave them moved them along that curve down the funnel a little bit more. And the next call, I moved them down a little bit more. And the next call, I moved them down. But I'm just, Bob, just continuing to contribute. And guess what the next call sounds like? Hey, Bob, it's Bill Pipes over here with 5 Real Estate. How are you? Oh, Bill, I'm good, right? Perfect. Hey, Bob, guess what? I'm giving you a call back just like I promised I would from our last call. Every single call, I'm doing that. Makes sense, guys? Hey, Bob, before we move forward, I just need to confirm, still San Francisco? Yeah, Bill. Still May? Yes, Bill. Job transfer still to go? Absolutely. Congratulations. Hey, I was thinking about you again because of, do you see I use the same framework, the same dialogue? I just add in new data, new conversation point, new contribution point. Okay. Sales is a game of contribution, not just closing. And I want you to write that down. Sales is a game of contribution, not just closing. And Andrew, if I contribute, Justin, enough over time, the reciprocity kicks back in. Their motivation begins to actually change, but it just takes time. Okay. So Nazar, this script is coming over to you. On the next call, I'm going to go over a couple of closes with you guys, right? Because I want to have you guys be as savage and as deadly as you possibly can in this game. Nazar, anything you want to say to the crew here on today's call? Because this is fundamental. This is basic. But if you don't have this down, you will continue to hemorrhage 20, 30, 40% of potential business because you're not going to follow up enough, or the conversation you have will not be effective enough and position you as the authority, the expert, and someone who truly cares about them, not just the commission. Nazar, please jump in, man, if there's anything that you want to add.
I mean, I think the only thing I would say is, what if we like gamified this for a minute and pretended that the person that you're talking to that you still haven't made any contact with is someone that is on is in the space station or on the moon, and they have no way of communicating with you. And so all of your communication that's going to them is just one-sided, but that's okay because they have no way of communicating with you yet.
Yep.
Yet. Not ever, but yet.
Yep.
And so when you think of it that way, like, don't be offended that they haven't reached out to you yet. And don't assume that unless they like block you, like unsubscribe, or if they pick up the phone and say, please stop, talking to me, most of the time they're just not ready yet, or they're not ready to have it. But if we're constantly pouring in, just like you said, and giving them value, and constantly, if you pick up the phone and say, hey, how's it going? Just checking in on you. That's not as good as if you say, hey, I've got some valuable information I want to give to you, or you call them and say, hey, did you see that property that hit the MLS today that I think would be a good fit for you? As long as we're giving them information, giving them content every single time, don't feel like it's a bother to them, right? Like when we text or call or email or whatever it is, and just pretend that they are unavailable to communicate, and you're just continue to just drip on them, connect with them, follow up. And then you'll be surprised one day on your 19th reach or your 20th reach or your 8th, whatever it is, they'll come back like, you know what? Thank you so much, Christine, because you have been, on me for this whole time, and I appreciate you. I am finally ready. Let's go see that house.
That's right. And you know what's crazy, Nazar? I have an agent from Zillow. I think I told you guys this. I like went on Zillow to be able to actually find the agent because I know so many agents in Salt Lake City that the last thing I wanted, Nazar, was one of the agents that I know going, why didn't you use me? And I'm just going to tell them because I went to Zillow instead, right? So, right, it was an easy chicken shit way for me to be able to like make sure I'm navigating like those relationships. This guy's been following up with me a bunch. I was in a situation where I was, looking at potentially having in a relationship where someone's going to move in with me, and we decided not to do that. I was going to redo the house. That changed in the last 30 days, and he happened to send me something just this morning that says, "Hey Pipes, listen to this. Hey Bill, I got a lead on a new build home in Olympus Cove that will be built in the style you're looking for and within your price range. I'm waiting on more details and renderings from the agent. By the way, he sent it over to me. Don't miss my message above, but also this home hit the market today." The dude's just depositing to me. Does that make sense? And my plans had changed. Now they've changed again. Maybe I'm more interested because you never know what's going on in somebody's life that could have them, and you are maybe taking it personally or making up the story that they're not motivated. They just got other shit going on. Does that make sense, guys? That's all that's going on. So you don't give up 27 to 31 times. And you get to 27 to 31, you keep pushing, my friends. Okay. Did you guys get value today? I hope. We'll get the scripts over to you guys, right? And then we're going to continue to work on some really great closes as well, too. So I appreciate you. I can't wait to see some of you that I'll see in Nashville. Let's go, baby. Coward, send me the text message so that I can get you and Sheila all dialed in on some stuff. And for the rest of you guys, this script will go over to Nazar. Nazar, let's get it out all to 5. And I'd love for you guys to watch that Jimmy Rex interview we did on the G3 Nation. So I'll make that available. I think there's a lot of great insights on there on what it takes to be able to actually run that type of business. In the meantime, guys, keep crushing. Love you. I'll see you on the next call. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Thanks.